Hi, this is Thomas, KB0DCO, and going to talk to you a little bit about amateur radio satellites using the Yaesu FT-991A. And of course, there is some issues with the radio for doing this, and I'll try to point these things out. First off, we'll take a look down here on my iPad, and I ran across this from another friend who posted this, and it shows the frequency uses there for the ISS and also the PO101, which we're going to talk about. And if you look here on the chart, you can see that the transmit changes, and from the other satellites, the receive is usually what changes. So here, you're starting at 490 and working your way up to 510 for the transmit, but leaving your receive around 145,900. And then as far as for the ISS, well, your transmit stays still on 145,990. And then your uplink, or what you're receiving, you start out at 810 and work your way up to 790, or in this case, down. And so you start at the horizon, and then like 45 degrees up, and then about straight up, and then about 45 degrees down, and then down at the horizon as it leaves. So that's for that. So now we'll look at the radio. Now I have those set up there, and then of course I can go and adjust accordingly to the receiver. Of course, I like to use my VFO and leave this locked, because I do bump it quite often. So we can adjust with having this engaged, the MCH for the memory channel for this button, multi-button they call it. And so then I put in the ISS, the FO118, and then PO101 with a PL tone of 141.3, and SO50, AO27 actually uses the same transmit and receive frequencies. The only difference is AO27 doesn't use PL tones. SO50 does. And you use a key up with this for about 2 seconds or so to activate, and then I made a separate channel for operational on 74.4 for SO50. Reason being is that when I had it like this, and I had the PL tone at 67 here, and then when I got into memory tune, and then I hit that PL tone button and adjusted the tone, and operated would operate, then it would work fine. But when I got out of this mode and went back to memory, the transmit frequency was the same as the receive. So not sure why that happened. I did let tech support know at Yaesu out in California about that. So maybe in a firmware update that can get fixed, hopefully. So with that in mind, this is why I use 2 separate memory channels for that. Now, obviously, people, if you're using your HT and whatnot, then you can just program in those frequencies in split, and then you just operate your just by turning the channel button, and that will make it easy for you. But for this radio, it makes it a little more challenging. And so I have not made a contact on PO101 as of yet, because it's hard to move that transmit, because here it's easy to move the receive but not the transmit. So what we first do is I'm going to go to channel dial. Now when I use this multi-button, I can now take it into memory tune mode, and this is adjusting the receive. Well, you don't see the transmit there, but it is recorded into the memory as a duplex or a split frequency in the memory. So that's what the DUP stands for duplex mode. So how do we get into that? Well, let's go now over to split. Okay, now we're in split mode, and of course our transmit frequency shows back up again. Now obviously that's where I last left it, so this is how, if you're going to adjust your receive, you can still do that. But in this case, we want to go with this TXW button. This one will only go and I can adjust the VFO will actually move. Even if it's locked, I noticed that. So I'm using this button here to adjust accordingly. So if we're going to start out with PO101, we want to go start at 490 and then let go. So there we go. 490 is the start of the transmit. Then when we talk on that for a little bit, then we go and adjust it there, talk some more, come back again, and then move that. Now we're at center frequency. Remember, we're about 90 degrees straight up. Hit the button again, and then as we work our way down, and there's the last frequency. And of course, I will set it back up to there for right now. Anyways, that is how you do that. Now, once you're done working the satellite, how do you get back? Well, first off, we'll turn... Oh, and also make note, too, the up and down buttons do not work while holding in this button. You have to do it here with the dial. This will not work. Now, if it's in just the receive mode, then yes, you can adjust it that way. But when you're trying to adjust the transmit, this does not work that way. It will beep at you. So now from split mode, we get out of split mode. And then, once you're done with that, even though to get back into normal memory mode, this because we're in memory tune mode, hit this VFO memory button, and now it will show you're back in memory. And now you can, but before you do, if you do this, this will be on your last one. So you want to make sure after hitting this button, you want to come over and hit that button. So now you can adjust your memory channels. Otherwise, you're still in memory tune. Okay, well, there you go.